Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Finance 311, Intersession 2018-2019. What does this piece cover? One, I'll introduce myself to you. We're going to do a review of the syllabus. We're going to look at the organization of Canvas, how it is set up for you to work with, and then strategies that you may want to use to be successful. My background a little bit is my degrees are from SUNY Fredonia and RIT. My degree from RIT is in leadership and innovation. I'm a CPA by trade. I practiced for a few years. Most of my professional experience was with HSBC Bank, where I retired as a senior vice president. I've held roles in accounting, finance, planning, process improvements, and managing our retail and small business in the general Rochester area. I'm also the former executive director of the South Wedge Planning Committee, which works in the South Wedge area, the city of Rochester. I worked on housing, commercial, and community development there, and got a broad exposure to both how to engage the community, housing, and commercial business advising, helping companies get started. Right now, as you know, I'm the lecturer and director of School of Business Interns. I'm the advisor to the Student Managed Investment Fund, where some of you participate. I am also a member of the President's Sustainability Commission here on campus, where we're looking how can we become more sustainable. I am also president, board chair of Delphi Rise, which is involved in the opiate crisis. We do outpatient treatment. We have a 24-hour walk-in center where we can assess you for any chemical dependency issue and get you into the appropriate program. We do a prevention program in the schools. We also do counseling. We also do domestic violence, reentry, open access, which, as I said, the 24/7, you can walk in and get an evaluation, one of our newest programs. We do mental health first aid, and this and that. I'm also treasurer of St. Peter's Kitchen, when I'm also the community garden manager. I'm also a business consultant working with small micro business to get started and to grow as a company. I'm also a speaker at various community events. So I have a broad base of experience. So I try to bring what I've learned into the classroom. And that's what I think is going to make this class interesting, is that it's going to be more applied than just going from a book or text. What we're going to do now is take a review of the syllabus. And this will cover 4 basic pieces. What will successful students be able to do at the end of this course? You have to be able to do something, and you will. Let's take a look through the syllabus, and you will find it below this video if you'd like to follow along. This is my name, my number, my email. Office hours are by appointment. We can do this virtually or in person. What are we trying to do? We're trying to introduce you to management principles and techniques. And this is taught within the contents of the current economic and business environment. This is going to help you understand how this applies to the real world. We'll take a look at what finance is and what the roles are, how it relates to the broader economic picture of a firm. Everybody uses these tools and techniques that we're talking about are important no matter what function you are in, because running a business, no matter what part you are, is about making profit and moving forward. This is consistent with our School of Business mission statement, that you acquire a strong quantitative, analytical, and communication skills while preparing you for professional success in a very complex business environment. And we do that by these learning goals: strong analytical skills, strong quantitative skills, effective communication skills, and a thorough understanding of the functional areas of business. This course will do all 4 of those things. Successful students will be able to do certain things. They'll be able to demonstrate the ability to know what the roles in the finance firm are. How does it relate? They can describe the key activities of the financial manager. Understand the financial markets and how they impact the firm's financial management. Understand the cash flow, working capital in the management of the firm, free cash flow. Cash flow is the blood of every organization. understand the basic components of a firm's financial statement, and analyze the performance of a firm. That's research and application based. Be able to apply financial ratio analysis. We'll tell you what it is and how to do it, but you need to be able to apply it. You're going to be able to look at the time value of money, which you've already been exposed to financial decision making. Understand basic risk, return, and risk measurement techniques. Understand financial planning and forecasting. Understand the capital budget model, and then use Excel to be able to communicate these skills. Okay, you can read the rest here. The course material will be provided in Canvas. If you would like some background information as you're going through, this is the book that things are based on. It's not required. If you find that you're going through and you want more information, this or any other text will help. And this one you can actually get chapters if you would like. How are we going to deliver this? We're delivering it on Canvas. It's organized based on modules. So really what I've tried to do is, this is what I would cover in a full semester, modified for 6 weeks, and now we're going to do it in 3. So a couple of them, we'll do a few modules a week. Okay, it's going to use a 4-step process. 1 lecture on the concept, then you'll find the application to a small case study that I've made up, then application of a real company, that's me, and then you're going to go off and apply what you learn. We're going to do this through a one-on-one discussion between you and I, so it really becomes a little bit of one-on-one learning as we're going. How are we evaluating you? There's going to be 3 quizzes. They're worth 23, 16, and 14. The application project is worth 25 and 22. Now we've loaded up a few in the first part of the class so that you can really start getting into the detail. Here's how the letter grades will be determined. You can read the last important days. The first official day of class is December 27th. I'm making this available to you now so that you can get a start. Our first quiz is Tuesday, January 3rd. The application project is due January 8th. There's another quiz on January 10th. Application project is due the 16th. Weekly quiz on the 17th. You need to take that between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Final grades will be available 10 p.m., no later than 10, on January 17th. I actually have to have the grades into the registrar by 11 a.m. on January 18th. Now, it seems like a lot to compound, but remember, you're not taking any other course, you don't have any extracurricular activities, so you're going to have time to do this in focus, somewhat as we'll talk about in the next section as we move forward. We're going to cover in the first section an economic background. Firms operate within the context of a broader economy. So we're going to take a look at that so that you can then see how what's happening there will impact the firm. We'll look at markets, business structure, and the role of finance. Introduction to concepts, basic concepts. And then how does a firm start to manage their financial affairs? And then how does a company make money? This is, I think, one of the most important things that when we get into finance, a lot of times you don't even think about, well, how does a firm make money? Being specific. We're going to move on to cash flow, look at free cash flow. We'll look at analyzing the balance sheet, analyzing the income statement, tools for looking at financial statements. There's some specific tools we do have. We're going to look at financial ratios, Project 1, and that's chapters 2, 16, and 17. Again, you don't have to get the book. So I've sort of taken these modules and broken them down into the 3-week period that we have. You have the advance on number 1, and that has a lot of stuff in it. Week 2, we're going to look at 3, 4, and 5, which is capital structure. How is a firm financed? How do they compute what it is, and then analyze it? We take a look at risk, Risk is a very broad category, but what are the firm's risks? How do they manage risk? Planning, what is it? There's strategic planning, tactical planning, capital planning, and application project 2 will cover these 3. And that's the one that's due on the 16th. In the last session, last week, we're going to focus on interest rates, risk and reward, and equities, understanding what they are. Now there will not be any application project around these, but they will be covered on the final exam. So that's what we'll be doing. Back to the dates again. I think it's important to be aware of them. First day class, 27th. We actually have availability of that a week earlier, so that'll give you a head start to balance this out and get the hang of what it is. We'll do our first quiz on the 3rd. Application project 1 is due on the 8th, and that will cover everything that we talked about in module 1 and 2. Weekly quiz on January 10th, application project due January 16th. Weekly quiz, got to have this one done between 7 and 2 p.m. That'll give me enough time to grade everything, correct everything, give you a sense. You'll know what your grade is by 10 o'clock on no later than January 17th. And then I will put it into Nightweb on before 11 a.m., no later than that. So if you have any questions, do let me know. You're going to keep hearing this all the time, but don't get lost. If anything doesn't make sense, do ask. The online method allows us to communicate efficiently and I think effectively. So now let's go over to Canvas. Let me just walk through Canvas and how I've set it up for this semester. The first thing you should notice, and obviously you've gotten this far, is that there's a welcome. There will always be announcements that'll be up here. Read them carefully. There'll be reminders, there'll be pointers, etc. There's 3 components. Home, the page you see here, which has everything that you need to be aware of is there. The announcements, and there'll be a historical repository so you can go back and see that, and then the section on grades. When you click on grades, what you're going to see is in the order when things are due, the 3rd, the 9th, the 10th, 16th, and 17th, and you can see what the grade is for that, and after you do them, and I've graded them, you'll be able to see which each one of these are. So coming back to the home screen, what I've laid out for you to start is we're going to try to organize this by weeks. This is what you should be doing in the first week. This is what you should be doing in the second week and the third week. I put a lot in the first week, but everything you need to do application project 1 is covered in week 1, module 1, which is Introduction, Economic Overview, and Introduction. Week 1, module 2, Cash Flow, Analysis, and Ratios. And all you have to do is if you click, these are pages here, and if you click on the page, what comes up is a little overview of what you're going to be dealing with, what are the key points to take away, and then you can watch the video. Then the actual slides that go along with the video follow. So this gives you a clear sense that everything is here, and these topics are what you're going to need to do. So from a process perspective, again, what I'd suggest you do is you leave enough time that you can listen to these, then make notes and think about some of the questions that are there. What are you going to do with this information? I then have laid out application project 1. It's worth 25% of your grade. And there's the instructions. This is where you post it. And again, there's a sample. So you're going to be able to dig down. So make sure you understand what is going on. And if you have any questions, let me know. Now, let's go back to the conclusion. Things that I think you might find helpful to be able to be successful in this course. First is organize and plan your time. We're going to be covering everything that's covered in a full semester course, just in a very condensed format. I've done it in 6 weeks in the summer for the past few years, and it's worked very well. I have spent a lot more time than I ever thought I'd have to in organizing the material to make it easy to follow. My suggestions are to start immediately. Try to do the lectures in 2 days. Then take a look and understand what you need to do for the individual project. Each project will take 6 to 9 hours to complete. And then use the day before the quiz to review lectures and examples. I would suggest you always make sure you have the project done, because some of the material that's in the project will also be on the tests. So do that. A lot of this is about planning and organizing your time. It's clearly doable. You just need to stay very focused and plan your time. If you start looking at this material 2 days before the test, I will tell you this will not work. So start immediately, watch the lectures, then go back, take notes. Do you understand it? How do these pieces tie together? Then look at the requirements for the project. Go back and look at the parts of the lecture that talk about that, and then do it. Communication, important. It's vital to your success. Make notes as you go and ask questions. I'm available on FaceTime, Skype, or in person if you're in Rochester. Email and frequently ask questions. We have that section. If you get lost or off track, recognize it sooner than later, and I'll reach out. I don't want you to run off track. So this becomes an interactive experience, even though we're online, between you and I. And I'm happy to review drafts of your application project before you submit it, but you need to ask. Last piece, don't memorize. You memorizing stuff is not going to get you anywhere in this course or in your future. This class is designed for you to learn and be able to apply what you learn. You're going to be able to do things. I want you to start out broad and then go deeper. We need to look to see how things tie together. Everything in finance is not an individual thing. You can't look at an individual ratio, an individual number, and draw a conclusion. You need to see how things tie together, the cause and effects, how things are. Ask questions, not just of me, but ask yourself questions to go deeper. If you don't understand it, what's the next question to go deeper? Consider what is material. We don't have to look at everything. So it's a matter of being very, very focused in learning. I think hopefully this will be a great experience. I have learned an awful lot just by putting this together. If you have questions, do reach out. And welcome again to Finance 311 Intersession 2018-19.